It seems odd to frame this as nostalgia, but you might want to remember when we were able to attend art events, like the Society for Photographic Education Conferences exhibit at the West Loop campus, Overwhelming Impossibilities.
So tonight is the opening reception for the Society for Photographic Educators Conference exhibition of work here at West Loop Gallery. So what we do is we have faculty that are involved in the organization, and it was coordinated between the photographic faculty here at HCC and the organization itself. So it's kind of an extension of our support of these communities of educators that and their conferences that when they're here in Houston, along with their nonprofit status. So again, it's an extension of us in the community.
I just sort of looked for work that really spoke to me and that I thought was doing something different and kind of moving the field of photography forward in a new way. Like this work behind me is a work, two different pieces by Krista Steinke, and I think they're really fascinating because she's using original works and placing them of the Texas sun, placing them outside in the Texas sun for either 3 months to up to a year, and letting the sun affect the finished product of the work.
So this is from a series of work I've done called Objects, where I've invited myself to people's homes and asked them to choose objects that are important to them for some reason, but they really get to pick why they're important. I'm not giving them any sort of criteria in terms of choosing the objects. And then once they do, I'm photographing them in the homes in the room that they live in. So the walls and the surface change in each, but it's always a solid surface and solid wall. And then after I've collected all these photographs, I'm putting them together into grids based on characteristics of the owners. So this particular one is objects owned by a 4-year-old and a 65-year-old that live in Space City. It was one of the very first pieces from the show, and it's actually the first one that I put together that I really liked. And at the time, it was the oldest and the youngest participant that I had asked to photograph their objects.
So these are pieces that I created. I think we could say it was therapy. Things were not happy at home, so I started going out. I actually built a nest in my backyard, this is what I was photographed in. And it was just a way of working through what was going on in my head in a safe environment. And so yeah, and then they started to come together as I just liked the idea of putting together more than one image that just seemed to flow better that way, work better that way for what was happening.
Well, this exhibition is actually tied to the biennial Photo Fest, and so this is part of our participation in the Photo Fest celebration of the photographic arts here in Houston and internationally.
For HCC Beat, this is Randall Williams.